Welcome to the Budget Mom YouTube channel. I'm Kimiko Love from thebudgetmom.com, and today we are talking all about something I truly believe we are all searching for when it comes to our finances, and that is peace of mind. So what's another term for that? Financial stability. Financial stability is actually one of the key components that I talk about in my brand new book, My Money, My Way, all about financial fulfillment. There are three things that make up financial fulfillment: stability, confidence, and clarity. And today I thought we would talk about the stability aspect of it, because I truly do believe, everyone says, well, I'm, wanting to pay off debt, I'm wanting to save money, I'm wanting to start investing. But we do all of these things, I think, with this underlying reason in our gut of searching for the calm, right? The financial stability. What is financial stability? Financial stability is being able to deal with and handle the shocks to our finances or budget, or the imbalances that we might find sometimes in life. Basically, it's the ability to handle whatever life throws at us, and knowing internally inside that we have a plan and a budget that is set up to work for us, right? I always say my budget has my back. And what I mean by that is I know I have the financial stability in my life where I have financial options to pay for all maybe these different things that are happening. Now, I really think that the misconception is that we should have an emergency fund in our life. When you hear about paying for these unexpected expenses that are thrown at us, that kind of derails our budgets or sets us behind or makes us take 2 steps backwards, it's having an emergency fund. But I don't think that is enough. Because what happens when a planned or expected expense pops up in our life, or even an unplanned or unexpected expense pops up in our life that's outside the realm of an emergency, right? We're told the number one rule with emergency funds is that we're not supposed to use them unless it's a true emergency. There are a lot of things that come up in life that aren't true emergencies. So today I thought I would talk about some of the realistic ways that I have set up financial options and found stability in my own life. These things have truly transformed my inner calm when it comes to my finances. So today we're going to be talking about my checking account cushion. We're going to be talking about my miscellaneous envelope. We're going to be talking about sinking funds. And yes, we will be talking about emergency fund, because that is still really important, especially if you're on a debt payoff journey. The last thing that we want is for a true emergency to happen and kind of set us back on our course of wanting to hit our financial goals. So I thought it would be fun to not only tell you about these things, these options that I've set up in my life, but to really show you visually what this looks like, how I use them, how I track it, what resources and tools I use with those financial options, to give you a very clear picture at how all these things kind of work together to kind of put this bubble of financial stability around me, my life, and my dreams and my goals. I think it's very important, because I think once we find that financial stability and that peace of mind with our finances is when we can really start tackling other components of a really important financial transformation, when we're talking about our emotions, our anxiety around finances, our stress, our shame, our guilt. Peace of mind and financial stability completely is one of the biggest components of a financial transformation. So let's look at the options I've set up in my life. So the first financial option that I give myself is my miscellaneous envelope. Now this is the envelope, it's just a cash envelope. It's actually a budget line in my variable spending. And remember, I use the cash envelope method. So I give myself $50 in my budget every single time I'm paid, which is currently once a month on the 1st, to take care of unplanned or unexpected expenses between my pay periods. These are the type of expenses, like in the month of January, I spent my full $50. And if we go to my expense trackers, I can actually show you, oh, so part of it was for running shoes. This is an unplanned expense that was not in my budget, right? But it's not a true emergency. I don't want to use my emergency fund for running shoes, right? And so I bet I used $50 of my miscellaneous cash from my cash envelope and part of my checking account cushion, which is another option I'm going to be showing you here shortly. So I think the miscellaneous envelope, or having that budget category in your budget, is really important, because things that pop up in our lives, like your kid forgetting to tell you he has a birthday party to go to tomorrow, a friend that's in town that you want to have dinner with, these things that weren't planned in your budget, but they're happening, that live outside of the realm of a true emergency fund. And I spend it in cash. I have a cash envelope that looks like this, and I do that every single time I'm paid. The next thing that I want to talk about very quickly is my checking account cushion. Now, my checking account cushion is something that I don't track anywhere else except for in my starting balance on my checking, in my expense trackers. Now, what is my checking account cushion? If we go back to my budget, you can see that I use this paycheck budget tracker inside the budget by paycheck workbook, but this is a zero-based budget, meaning that every single dollar of my income or money coming in for that month, which I call inflow, has a plan. It's going somewhere in my budget. So income minus expenses equals zero. And for a really long time, I thought that meant that my checking account would be going down to zero every single time. Because, right, if you're spending all your money, then you should have no money left. That's not what it means. What it means is that every dollar has a plan. So part of my plan in my budget, you can see this here, is a cushion. Now, when I first started this, I started with doing a couple dollars every month, $10 every month, and I just let it sit in my checking account. And I did this because I was getting so scared to bring my checking account down to zero. Like, what if a bill was higher than I expected and it was on auto pay? I was afraid of getting overdraft fees because there was no money in the account. As an all cash spender using cash envelopes, what did I do if I needed to make an online purchase? So this checking account cushion gives me the stability of doing online purchases, of not having to worry about overdraft fees, of not worrying about, okay, what if one of my bills is higher than normal? Do you see how it takes away that stress and anxiety for those things? Plus, it's just nice to have in case you, it's like a little emergency fund, but I guess we shouldn't call it an emergency fund. It's like a little fund you have set for yourself to take care of unplanned or unexpected expenses in between your pay periods. And the way that you can see this in my finances, every single time I start a new tracking period, because I track from the first to the last day of the month, every single time, this starting balance for my checking account is my checking account cushion. So in January, on January 1st, I can tell you right now that my checking account cushion was at $1,245. That's its dedicated plan. That's its plan in my budget. Is it being spent on something? No. It's just a plan to have it there in case I need it. Now, it took me a long time to grow it up to $1,000. That's where I feel the most comfortable, is having it around $1,000 every month. But that's my checking account cushion. The next thing that I want to talk about very quickly, and another option I have created in my life, is something called sinking funds. It's kind of funny, you know, we say our lives are so unpredictable, but they're a lot more predictable than we might think. Every year we know we're going to have birthdays come up. Every single year we know that we're going to have, for instance, back to school shopping. Every year we know Valentine's coming, Christmas is coming, sports for my kiddos coming. I know it. So why aren't I preparing for these types of things beforehand? So I have a plan for them in my budget. So with sinking funds, and the great thing too is, like, there have been times in my life where I've had a really big expense come up and I've been able to reevaluate the trade-offs I was making with my money. For instance, I thought to myself, you know what? This big expense came up and I don't have enough in my checking account cushion to pay for it. So you know what? I'm okay with the trade-off of decreasing my Valentine's savings by half. Do you see how having options in your life gives you the ability to make more trade-offs? It gives you more choices when it comes to the trade-offs you are making. I'm not forced to choose between using debt and spending another way, or using my emergency fund, or going into debt. Now I have these other options I can include in my trade-off decisions. So with my sinking funds, some of them I save for in cash. Some of them I save in separate savings accounts at my bank, my credit union. So for cash, I have Valentine's Day, my $500 house maintenance. I always keep $500 in cash here at the house. My Disport, clothing, Costco, my fiance's birthday, back to school, my son's birthday, my son's sports, and Christmas. Those are the things that I save for in cash because I'm either spending them throughout the year or I plan to spend them relatively soon, within a year. The things that I save for in individual savings accounts, each one of these is a different savings account. Now, if you're wondering what app this is not an app. This is a screenshot of my online banking. I bank with a credit union that allows me to have as many savings or checking accounts as I want, no fees and no minimums. These are all the savings accounts I have established for myself. And these ones that I decide to save for in my credit union are for bigger goals like Disneyland or vacations or my car maintenance fund or my property taxes or my landscaping savings or my pet fund or my wedding or my chicken goals. These are things that I'm not planning to really spend. They're just growing. And they're implemented in my financial plan with my budget and my financial goals. All right, so that's sinking fund. Now the last thing, so we talked about the checking account cushion. We talked about sinking funds. We talked about the miscellaneous envelope. Let's talk about the last thing, your emergency fund. Now I get asked a lot, Miko, do you have an emergency fund? I do. My emergency fund is around $9,000 or $10,000. That's where I feel comfortable because I have a lot of other resources that I could use outside of just my emergency fund. But for me, that's where I feel comfortable. Now, how I handle this is your emergency fund should be something that you have immediate access to. I think it's totally fine sitting inside of your normal savings account at your banking institution, whether that's a bank or a credit union. However, though, if you have a larger emergency fund, like, right, you have 6 months worth of savings in there for your emergency fund, I decided to make my money work a little harder for me, right? Because in a traditional savings account, you're not getting paid very much. The interest is not very big. I decided to leave about $4,000 in immediate access cash in a savings account at my credit union. About $5,000 of that is sitting in a high yield online savings account with Ally. Now, I love Ally. They are an online high yield savings account option for you. I like it personally because of the bucket feature. I'm not using the bucket feature because I only have my emergency fund in here. But if I did want to move some of these higher type of savings that I have going on in my separate savings account, Ally allows you to separate all of your savings into what's called buckets, but you earn interest on the total amount that you have saved, the overall total. So that's a pretty good deal. And so anyways, I recommend and I use Ally for my online high yield savings accounts. There are many to choose from. Don't think too deeply on it. Make sure they have a good interest rate. Check your fees, check your minimums, and that type of thing. But I enjoy using Ally. So, emergency fund, also established in my life for true emergencies. It's another financial option for stability that I have given myself. So those are just some of the ways I have set up financial options and found financial stability in my life. Of course, there might be something that you do that's a little maybe more personal to your situation. For example, I don't use credit cards at all. But I do know that for some people, using credit cards responsibly does give them some type of financial stability in their lives. I know a lot of people, some people will actually have a credit card limit for their financial emergencies, knowing that they have the cash to pay it off every single month. You just have to make sure you can use that credit card responsibly. Maybe it's having a different sinking fund that I don't have in my life. Remember, stability and options is what gives you inner peace and calm. Not me, not your friends, not your parents, not what everyone else is telling you. Because if you have truly defined financial success for yourself, which my book, My Money, My Way, walks you through that process of defining success for yourself, then it won't matter. Financial stability is what you define it as, and finding that in your own life and the options that you set up. Because when I look back on my life and the kind of chaos and anxiety and stress and really all the emotions I was feeling around, financing a $1.09 ice cream cone for my child, I look back and that's because I only gave myself 2 options when it came to my finances. I could use my emergency fund, or I had to rely on debt. I cornered myself back into a corner where I gave myself only those 2 options without realizing that I could produce more options in my life. So if you found this video helpful, please like it and don't forget to subscribe. If you like it, please subscribe. Oh. It's like, whoa. What do I say? Oh. Oh, geez. Okay.